Welcome to the first episode of the South Shore Method. My name is Phil McCrory. I'm a behavioral scientist um, and the founder of the South Shore Method. Um, I started this streamcast, whatever it is, of the South Shore Method to be able to give parents a resource um, to be able to navigate this new world we're living in with COVID, coronavirus, whatever you'd like to call it. So I've had clients asking me to kind of get online and start, even doing remote services. But I know there's going to be lots of parents out there who can't afford to get some of this advice. So I'm making this available to everybody, and so that they can use these strategies to help their homes run a little bit better. Um, my treatments, South Shore Method, really focus on three different areas that I bring in. One is evolutionary psychology, and at the core of that, I think that human beings need to belong to a group. We evolved that way, and I think you'll see this everywhere. Community is so important for mental health and for so many different things. But at the core of that is actually group belonging is at the root of a lot of behavior. Period. Flat stop. You know. Second, I bring in a mindfulness component where we need two things to be true at the same time, and we need to be okay with that, right? And it's about acceptance and inhibition and self control. Um, the third part is behaviorism, which is to say that given the right motivations, that you can get nearly anyone or any organism really to change their behavior. Um, where my specialty comes in is the conceptualization and putting all these things plus all the everything I've learned in my life and my experience um, into that and giving parents a very easy plan to follow, something that can be replicated, something that is kind of, while it's very effortful in what I'm asking them to do, the the hardware or the kind of the method that I'm asking them to do is very simple, and so it's streamlined. And I've had a lot of success. I've had you could call it miraculous success. The types of cases that you don't normally hear about. Kids going from violent, really dysfunctional behavior they cannot learn, can't be in school, can't be in an instructional setting, and we've gotten these kids in instructional settings working towards um, independence and being in inclusive classrooms. And I've worked with all different types of kids with many different types of behavioral profiles. And so I want to help parents navigate this world. Now, this works for neurotypical children. It's a little easier with neurotypical children, or neurotypical. I'm going to put ADHD kids in that as well. I'm an ADHD kid. I grew up that way, right? And I understand that yes, there's a hello kitty. There is a I think there's a physiological component to kind of vigilance, to being highly alert, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that person cannot focus. Um, while the hyperactivity and all these other, yes, some people have more energy, absolutely, but all of that can be mitigated with behavioral strategies. Um, so these type of interventions work for all children, um, and given the right incentives, and if the parents are following through, which is one of the most important parts, right? And that's part of what we do here is create that structure to actually hold parents accountable. And part of when I do my private practice now is I will create the proper incentive for parents. If some parents might not need much motivation, right? Usually by the time they come to me, they're I wouldn't say, they're ready. They are bought in. They're not going to I don't have to convince them that there's a problem. They've already identified it. They've already made most of the first steps, right? So from there, I was talking about we create a plan, right? We put forth clear objectives, and usually about one or two, three max at a time when we start. We measure that over time. We talk about it for 5 sessions, usually over 5 weeks. Sometimes that goes a little bit longer, right? And then based on those tools, I give the people a number of different strategies tailored to their specific situation, because every single situation is very unique in the fact that behavior has a very wide spectrum. So I try to, every single case needs to be conceptualized individually. Now, some of these stuff you can apply, and we can become, and actually encourage parents to become behaviorists themselves. What I want to do is I never want to see you guys again. Not that I don't like you, not that that I couldn't continue to work with you, but part of what makes this work is that there's a time limit on it, and that I'm not going to be there for you forever, just like parenting. So I have to, kick you out of the nest eventually, and you're gonna fly because you have to. And if you don't, I can come back and we can consult, we can do that stuff. But generally, that's at the core of a lot of my interventions and why they work, is I place proper incentives for parents, and whether that's monetary or not, proper incentives for parents to follow through and really putting that time limit and having something that says, like, you have to be able to do this by this time, just like any class you would take, just like any work training, just like anything else. There's consequences to you not following through. Now, I've just been expanding my business over time. I'm doing my own thing. So this COVID stuff is a trip. And I'm hoping to still be able to help parents and families. And maybe this is actually a better way to reach more people at once. Because I know right now, families are having trouble. A lot, we're not used to being around each other for 12, 16 hours a day. Marriages are strained. Relationships are strained. Friendships are strained. Brothers and sisters are going at each other, right? I'm sure parents are having a hard time. And so what the South Shore Method podcast, webcast, cast is a way to reach all these people as best I can. And once this gets going, and I hope to share this, I hope this catches on. I want to take questions and problems from people and work through them. Give me your hardest cases. I work with the impossible kids, and I get results. And you can speak to anybody I've worked with. And then when we have time, I'll put up those video testimonials. But, the proof's going to be in the pudding. Maybe I'll start even doing mock cases if I can't get any real cases to kind of work through. But this is intended to be totally instructional for parents. There's no gimmick. There's nothing I want you to buy. I can show you what tools you'll need. And really, I want to democratize this knowledge, is that behaviorism works. And as soon as parents can start figuring out which behaviors they're reinforcing, right, and why they're reinforcing them and how, and because most of the time it's counterintuitive. It's we think we're doing the right thing, and yet we keep getting worse and worse results. Well, I'm here to solve that mystery for you. I can unlock that puzzle. And I hope to do that with you guys well into the future. Hopefully we can get back to some in-person stuff, but for now, I'm happy to be helping families in any way I can. So click subscribe, spread the word. You can go to southshoremethod.com. It'll be in the YouTube notes. And stay tuned. I'm going to start talking about very specific problems and specific concerns in this moment, and I hope to get some feedback from you guys. All right, take care.